You done fucked it up. Damn it. Damn, man. I'm so fucking pissed off right now. I hate this movie. I hate Alien Covenant. I think it sucks. It sucks PP, okay? You done fucked it up, Ridley Scott. You done fucked it up, your writers. Your writers, Michael Green and Jack Paglin. You done fucked it up. Screenplay by John Logan and Dante Harper. You done fucked it up. Alien Covenant is something that should have never happened. It is essentially what happens. Alien right now, the Alien franchise from Fox is pulling a Star Wars. It is as if, so the studios have given complete control to Ridley Scott over the Alien franchise. We had to put Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5 on hold for this, where we get a conclusion to Ripley and Hicks comes back and Newt. And we had to put that on hold in order to get this film and what Ridley Scott's vision is. And unfortunately, Ridley Scott, though directing the first Alien, is now fucking the Alien franchise up. He's pulling a George Lucas. If you are a fan of Aliens, if you love the Xenomorphs as much as I do, you're going to hate this film. They take the origins of the Xenomorphs in a specific direction. It is a very horror tropey direction. The mythos and origin of the Xenomorph is now a fucking trope. When before it was mysterious and it was this and it was that, and I'll talk to you about that in the spoilers. But first, I have to get my shit together because I'm so upset. I've been up for something like 2 days now, flying back from Sweden to Austin. My flights are delayed just in time. I catch this movie at 10:30 p.m. Just tired as fuck. And this is what I'm treated to. I am pissed. I recorded it with Other Joe, with Beard, and with Delrith, and unfortunately, I didn't switch my audio sources, so the audio sounds garbage. If you want to see it, I can link it to you later, but I'm redoing it now in the morning when I have some of my thoughts composed. Alien Covenant is the biggest disappointment this year so far for me. I was really looking forward to it. Now, when it first came out, it looked very horror tropey with its first trailer with the shower scene of this couple, and the alien tail comes up, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be filled with fucking horror tropes. They're just going to do the monster movie thing and do it poorly. Okay. Whereas the second trailer comes out and it looks smart. It looks more, it has some elements of science and then it also shows off the xenomorph in creative ways, and there's a backburster and these kinds of things that make it look more intelligent. And I was encouraged. I was betrayed. Betrayal. The film is fucking horror tropes combined with the stupidity of Prometheus. Now, I know a lot of people hate Prometheus, but I actually like Prometheus once I get past and excuse all of the ridiculous stupidness. The scientists are freaking idiotic, and there's so many fucking plot holes, so many stupid decisions from these people that are supposed to be professionals on this expedition. That same thing happens here. What the fuck did the writers do? They took zero feedback from all that in Prometheus, okay? So what we have here is we have a mixture of the worst elements of Prometheus and the worst elements of previous horror tropey alien attempts. And now this is Prometheus 2 combined with an Alien prequel. This is basically Prometheus 2 in the worst way, and it's weaker than Prometheus. I actually like Prometheus better, and it is an Alien prequel that I hate because it fucks up the alien mythology. It fucks up the timeline, it fucks up the origin, it fucks up the mystery, and it sucks, okay? The problem with the film, however, is it just fucking starts. The opening sequence sucks, okay, number one. And number two, none of the characters are set up. There's zero characterization. It's your film has done a poor job when on YouTube there are videos of the film called there's a promotional video called The Last Supper that kind of introduces all these characters and fleshes them out. But that's on fucking YouTube. And it's nowhere to be found in the film at all. They basically they pull a Destiny, okay? They expect you to know all the history and lore of these particular characters so that you could care about them later when they start dying. Nobody knows these characters. It is so shockingly poorly done from Ridley Scott, considering he directed the first Alien, which has just about the best fucking characters, figuring out problems, trying to deal with this alien, this sense of mystery and smarts where they come up with plans. None of that shit is here. In fact, you don't even know, they go for this thing where you have a couples, right? They did this stupid couples thing, and they don't even properly set that up. You don't know who's wife properly. And so when people start dying, you're like, I don't give a shit, and I don't know who that person was, and is that person's wife, or that person's wife? It's shockingly terrible. And so basically, what pisses me off the most is, Prometheus was interesting. It had its flaws, but it was interesting because you had the space jockeys and were exploring the origin of the fucking aliens. It had it had its own quirks, the gray goo, which isn't very alien, but it has its own thing. Here, it focuses on some of these characters, Elizabeth Shaw, Michael Fassbender. Here, all of these new characters are 100% completely in the background. They are the tropiest horror of horror characters where they are just literally there to get fucking killed. Nobody has character arcs. Nobody. The Daniels character in this film, which is she eventually takes over the position of captain, but this is Ellen Ripley light, and that's an insult to Ellen Ripley to even say out loud. She's a ripoff Ellen Ripley that has no characterization, that has no charisma, that has no story to her, and not only that, it's not even really her fault. She is pushed so hard into the background in favor of exploring the lore and David/Walter's character, Michael Fassbender's character, these androids. Now, that would have been fine if this lore part they didn't completely fuck up, which they did, and this Michael Fassbender character wasn't the whole focus of the fucking film. They needed to rename this thing Alien Michael Fassbender. Not Alien Covenant, Alien Michael Fassbender. That's what this film is. So if you don't like the android character, which of course you do because it's one of the better parts of the previous Prometheus, you're going to hate this film. But the problem is they go way too far with it and at the expense of everything else. Everything. Now, granted, it is Ridley Scott, and this guy knows how these things should look. He knows how they should sound. So the sounds are authentic. The music is authentic. You hear some original Aliens trilogy stuff. You hear some original Prometheus songs in here. And it looks beautiful. There's sweeping shots of this alien landscape. There's no doubt about that. But just about everything else sucks. And it fucks the alien Xenomorph's lore, and I hate it for that. So, weak-ass characters. Some characters aren't even utilized. There's no point at all for James Franco to be in this film. He is literally in the film for like 2 freaking seconds. He is in the YouTube videos more than he is in this film. It made absolutely no sense to make him the captain. You got Danny McBride, who I thought was going to stick out like a sore thumb. Fortunately, Danny does a good job at what he is. But honestly, his character and the way it's played, anybody could have played this character. It didn't need to be Danny Bride. Danny didn't have to put in so much extra effort to overcome, the image that comes with Danny Bride and the comedy stuff and the foolishness. But he overcomes it. So I guess that's good. So let's talk about the actual monsters in this film. So you're getting protomorphs, which is, it's not even, I thought it would be like the neomorphs from the last film fighting the xenomorph, and I would have been fucking badass, old versus new. That's not it. In fact, the neomorph isn't a part of it that we saw at the end of Prometheus. This is a different kind, and it basically gestates in the body, and it comes out as a small form, and it slowly gets bigger. And I'll call it a protomorph. I'm sure it has an official name, but I'm just calling it a protomorph. So the scientists do the stupid thing again where they're just like putting their face and shit, stepping on everything. And nobody's wearing a fucking helmet. It's just maybe that would have made sense if they went directly to the planet that they had planned for years to colonize, but to make a fucking detour and go to a planet you know nothing about and to just walk around without a helmet and fucking inhale these spores that come out, which turns out to be the original that the Prometheus's alien goo, gray goo, is beyond asinine. It's beyond stupid, and they don't say a goddamn word. These professional soldiers and scientists and colonists, and so they eventually get infected, and we have a few really gory, cool, scenes that are shot well, where you have a backburster and you have eventually more traditional looking aliens showing up through an explanation I'll get to in the spoilers, where we get to see alien eggs and we get to see face huggers, and face huggers moving in a way that we've never seen before due to the benefit of the CGI. However, while the CGI benefits the face huggers, for some reason, the xenomorph in this film doesn't look that good. It doesn't look convincing. It's not Alien 3 bad, but it's not exactly, it doesn't look realistic. I wish they would have used a mixture of suit and CGI when it's complete CGI here, and it has that feeling like it's not really there. And so the xenomorph itself, for me, was not really that scary. Kind of less scary than the protomorphs, honestly, which are smaller, faster, appear to be able to take more damage. They're shooting these protomorphs. It's doing jack shit. I mean, these protomorphs take huge bullets, and they don't go down. So, and the xenomorph, god damn it, man, they fucked up this film. It's tropey as fuck. So it's, you could break it down into thirds. The first 2/3 are basically a retread of Prometheus. However, if you liked the space jockeys, if you liked all the lore, if you liked the fact that, oh shit, Elizabeth Shaw and the android character David hijack a space jockey vessel and they're going to the fucking home planet of the space jockeys, it's gonna be so cool. If you like that element, fish! That's what fucking Ridley Scott does to you. It slaps you in the fucking face. Because that shit, it doesn't explore all that interesting shit. It wipes that shit away almost immediately. It's so insulting. And it goes on and explores the lore and shit about the fucking android characters. It replaces the most interesting part that you had left of Prometheus and the space jockeys and this advanced civilization stuff and then this colonization stuff with androids. My favorite part of Alien Isolation. Now, granted, it's slightly interesting androids because it's played by Michael Fassbender, who is literally the best part of this film. And it's just too much. The focus is in the wrong fucking place in an alien film. Oh my god. So you have that going on, that it focuses on the wrong area and then it fucks the lore. So that I don't like the film. I really don't. I was expecting it to be a lot better. I was expecting Ridley Scott to learn from his mistakes. Somehow the writing and the characters and the situations almost get worse. After all the feedback he got from Prometheus. I'm sure people are going to be able to tear apart this movie in the same way that they tore the logic apart in Prometheus. It's that bad. It's worse than Prometheus. I like Prometheus better than this film. In fact, I may even like Alien 3 better in some ways. I may even like Alien Resurrection better in some ways, which is it's really bad. No, not really. Okay, so Alien Covenant does come just barely. No, because it makes me so mad because this film fucks with the lore. But so does those other two films, but just in different, more interesting ways. I don't like Alien Covenant. In fact, I might even put Alien Resurrection in front of it just because Resurrection you can have fun with a goofy, campy. It knows what it knows what it is. It has those horror tropes, but it's playing with them. Here, it's played completely serious, but it thinks it's fucking intelligent, and it is stupid. It's stupid. I don't think Ridley Scott knows the alien character anymore, the xenomorphs, and what to do. Somebody take away the Alien franchise from Ridley Scott. This is turning into a George Lucas situation. My final verdict for Alien Covenant is a 4 out of 10. Joe gave it a 5. Dell gave it a 4. Angerbeard, who loves sci-fi, everything sci-fi, gave it a 4. And my rating is a 4 out of 10. It's average. The visuals are above average. Everything else drags this film down from 8, which is probably the highest anybody in their right mind could give it, to 7 to 6. There's so many stupid things in this film, and it brings it all the way down to 5 once you combine how it's the worst of Prometheus 2 and the dumbest direction of an Alien prequel. And then I bring it down to 4 because it actually destroys the xenomorph lore. It makes the xenomorphs less cool. I didn't know that was even fucking possible. It ruins the perfect organism thing that you think is mysterious. It explains that all in the stupidest way that I hate, and I hope that, and I wish that this wasn't canon, but it's canon because it's Ridley Scott. I hope that there are some of you out there that agree with me that this film was a huge disappointment and it messes up the lore and it turns into nothing but tropes. If I start reading comments and they just love and adore this film, I'm gonna be shocked. I feel like I have to insert even more justification because so many people are probably going to push back on this. I'm already seeing people reacting to me saying it sucks pee pee on Twitter. And to further justify my opinion on why exactly it sucks, the film is a tropey, paper thin retread in all the worst ways. There's not one character here that you can say, "Oh, that's super interesting," that isn't a carryover from, Prometheus. And Prometheus isn't the shining example of a character study as Alien or Aliens were. Alien directed by Ridley Scott. To get it so wrong, to get it so reversed, this film is basically all the generic Alien films that tried to copy the original Alien and Aliens that came out after those films. This film follows all that shit to a T. In fact, it's blowing me away at how Ridley Scott even got that success with the first Alien. It might have been his writers, it might have been the screenplay, it was the actors, it was a perfect storm. In fact, it makes me appreciate Alien even more now because it was probably a perfect storm of just complete talent everywhere. Maybe Ridley Scott was the only talented one here, and all of his writers, screenplay, everything else, and actors was dragging him down. I'll give you that because the film looks amazing. But just because it looks like Aliens and it looks like Prometheus doesn't make it a good film in terms of visuals and audio. If the story sucks, if the characters are paper thin and not memorable, if the situations are, insulting to something that I've loved for a very long time, you don't care about xenomorph lore. You don't care about aliens and stuff. So if they change up the way the alien life cycle works, or if they explain where the aliens come from in a stupid way rather than a mysterious way, if they say it all comes from one spot, then you don't care. you just like, horror. And if it looks bloody, it looks gory, that's fine with you. And that's great. But that's why you are a moviegoer, and that's why other people are critics, to tell you exactly the differences and how this measures up to other filmmaking, how it was shot, how it was filmed, how it was written, how it measures up in terms of sci-fi. And this particular one doesn't. It ends on a cliffhanger that it doesn't fucking earn. It sets up a less interesting movie than the previous two movies that you've seen, and it offers a terrible explanation for the perfect organism, the coolest fucking creature ever created in sci-fi. It ruins that. And so as a fan, there is a little bit of extra prejudice against this film. And I can make the admission that some of the little horror scenes, the chest busters, the face huggers, and the Xenomorphs had cool elements to them. But there is lots of stupidity, Prometheus style, and the film doesn't know what it wants to be. It wants to be Prometheus 2 for the first third and second third, but it completely ignores all the lore and the interestingness of the space jockeys. It just fucking obliterates all that stuff, and it focuses on David and Walter, the androids. That's it. That is it. It gives you the most insulting conclusion to Elizabeth Shaw's story from the first Prometheus. If you liked the film, it's an insulting conclusion there. And then once it's done basically saying, fuck your interest in the coolest parts of the lore, where even Ridley thought it was the coolest parts because he was exploring the space jockeys and that civilization. None of that here. Then the last third is basically Alien done over again with characters you don't give a shit about that looks like Alien 2. It's as if Ridley Scott took, the premise of Alien, combined it with the visuals, the hallways and the pulsing lights and the red lights and the steam and the cameras from James Cameron's Aliens, and mixed those two together, but it is a pale comparison. It is a facade it just does not measure up. And I can't believe there's going to be some of you out there that think this film is amazing. It's not. But you're entitled to your opinion. But I had to put this last justification in here just because I saw a lot more pushback than I would have expected, because I thought Alien fans were kind of knew that these were the original. And now we have sort of processed horror garbage with Audi advertisements. There's Audi tie-ins into this film, and half of the film is on YouTube. And all the promotional, in fact, what I mean to say is there's more promotional material on YouTube for this film than almost running time of this goddamn film. There's so much stuff on YouTube that could have benefited being in the film, or being, explaining, fleshing out the characters, making us care about them, and all this stuff. But yeah, so the only thing I liked in the film, I liked some of the android stuff, though I wish it would have gone in a different direction with, the explanation of the origin of the Xenos. And I like the android stuff. I like the face huggers, and my favorite is the Xenomorph. But he's like he's like the biggest disappointment in the film, the least threat. The neomorphs or the protomorphs are scarier, and the face huggers are scarier. And then it uses the gray goo again, only in airborne form rather than liquid. So it retreads a lot. That's why I didn't like this film. That's why I said this film sucks pee-pee, and that I like Prometheus better, and I like the original Alien much better, directed by Ridley Scott. Good job there. Not a good job here. And my favorite film of all times is Aliens. So when you fuck something up, you're going to get a lot more tough love from me than normal. So all you moviegoers that enjoy going to a sci-fi movie, you might get your money's worth here, because it looks and sounds so good. But if you want something a little deeper and intellectual, if you want something that is not just gonna set up nothing but a bunch of tropes and stupid idiotic scientists making dumb decisions and putting themselves in these situations, this is not gonna be the film for you. And it's not gonna endure the test of time anywhere near as much as the original films. All right, so that's it. Spoilers are up next, and I will see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.